I'm not feeling suicidal. Right, let's bring my mum in, shall we? To talk about the blue plastic cow. Let's find it in the people. Let's see. Oh, there she is. Barbara Attwood. There we go. First time ever interviewing my mum. What can go wrong? Nothing, hopefully. Good grief. Let's see. Oh,
here I am.
And there she is, Barbara Attwood.
I'm light enough. You can see me.
Yes. I bet you guys cannot guess. I bet you guys cannot guess my mum's age.
Go on. And I haven't had any work done. Nothing. No work, nothing. It's yoga that does it. You know, standing on your head.
Standing on your head. Good DNA. Good genes. And Amy is guessing that you're 29. Ash is guessing 22. Matthew's saying 55.
Nowhere near. Add another 20. Add another
20. 24 forever. Thank you, Snap. Right. So on the shelf here is my mum's book, which is selling. She's got her book came out the same date as mine, Who Killed Epstein. But hers is higher rated with more reviews, doing better than mine right now.
All right. Before we talk about my book, can I just say thank you to everyone, you know, all these wonderful supporters who've stuck with Shaun. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. We've built an amazing community.
Yeah.
I'm blessed, definitely.
Yeah, you are.
All right. So, what is the significance of the blue plastic cow?
Well, I called it blue plastic cow because the blue plastic cow was a gift that my mother gave me, and it was a parting gift from my birth mother. I don't really like the term birth mother. Her name was Carol, so we'll call her Carol. And miraculously, I've still got it now. It's here.
Let's have a look.
There you go. Blue plastic cow. It rattles. Still got its rattle. So it was a baby's present with a rattle in it.
74 years old.
And so it's 74 years old, this cow. Same as me. And she gave it to me as a parting gift. But miraculously, we've had many house moves and I've still got it. I didn't know what it was or who gave it to me until I was 40. So it's just amazing that I've still got it. So I had to call it Blue Plastic Cow in honor of Carol.
So Carol gave you this blue plastic cow on a visit to your adoptive parents' home.
Yes. You see,
how did that come about, the whole situation?
Yeah. Well, my book is in two parts. The first part is about my adoption, and the second part is about the search for my birth mother. Well, I want to say, first of all, that the family that adopted me were a brilliant family. I love them to bits, and I'll be forever grateful that they adopted me.
Our Florrie and Jan.
Well, Shaun's grandparents, aren't they? You know, they're like...
Yeah, our Florrie used to cook a mean batch of chips in lard and bacon fat.
She did, yes.
And my Jan used to smoke a pipe. He had a budgie called Joey, and he'd leave me a 10p piece on the mantelpiece under one of the ornaments as pocket money.
Yes, they were a brilliant couple. And so I was adopted into this wonderful family. But my birth mother, Carol, found out where I was living, which wasn't really allowed in those days. Once you'd had a child adopted, you never knew where they went. I don't know how she found out, but she found out where I was living. And my mother, Florrie, Shaun's grandmother, let her visit me. and she visited me up until I was nearly 3. And Florrie decided that we were becoming too attached, so she told us she couldn't come anymore. And that's when she gave me the blue plastic cow.
All right, let's go back even further then as to what happened when she was forced to give you up. Why was she forced to give you up?
Well, this is going to Carol's story now, isn't it? Really? Yes. You see, she was in the Land Army. She came up north in the Land Army, and she worked on a farm in Cheshire. And the farm was owned by my biological father's father. So, and his name was Thomas. So they had a relationship which lasted nearly 2 years, and there was a wedding plan. She got pregnant. There was a wedding planned, and Thomas called the wedding off 3 days before. So, and I was actually born in a workhouse. It was 1947, which was the year before the National Health Service started. So I was born in Jericho Hospital in Manchester in a workhouse. So their story is quite a fascinating story, really, But if we go back to my upbringing in West Bank with my with my adoptive parents, we lived on the banks of the River Mersey. So it's about 12 miles from Liverpool. And in my book, I give a really good insight into working class life in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. We had chickens in a shed at the bottom of the yard. There was a cockerel, Sammy, who used to chase you, attack you if you came out to go to the toilet, which was also at the bottom of the yard. Sammy the cockerel was called, yeah. And so I frequently had constipation because I didn't want to go to the toilet for fear of Sammy attacking me. So we lived near the Mersey, and in the summer, the house sort of faced the river, and in the summer, all the women, they took the children down to the sea. There was sand, and we had picnics on the sand. We didn't notice the pollution, which there must have been a lot of pollution then, but we didn't notice it, and we didn't notice the smells. And my father had a boat on Spike Island, which is a marshland in Widnes. So I have lots of happy memories of growing up in West Bank. I know a lot of people from West Bank have bought my book because it brings back a lot of memories of West Bank.
So hold on a second then. Let's just go back again, because people are wondering why your mum gave you up, your natural mum. You got to the wedding being the jilting. She got jilted, yes. But you didn't continue as to what happened.
No, I'm sorry.
And the role of the church, and this is where the injustice arises now, isn't it? And the activism.
Yes. Yes. When the only mistake my mum, Florrie, made, she never told me that I was adopted. So I didn't know. And I found out by accident when I was 12. A therapist said to me, you do know that you're adopted, don't you? Of all people. I didn't know that I was adopted. And my whole world caved in. I was just totally shocked. Everything just stopped for me. I couldn't believe that Florrie wasn't my mum, and that I was adopted. And and so it was very traumatic. So it took me, and when I went home from hospital, Florrie didn't handle it very well. She told me that my mother had abandoned me and that I was unwanted, which you know, I was 12 at the time, and hearing that didn't do me any good, really. So what I did, I buried all this inside me, and I felt ashamed. I felt as though I was an unwanted child, a child that was called, I don't want to swear, called a B something or other, you know. And so I felt ashamed of being adopted, of being illegitimate, really. Because in those, going back to those days, things were very different. I mean, a lot of you are probably quite young, the listeners, Shaun supporters, and you can't imagine a society where girls had to be virgins. You know, men expected girls to be virgins when they got married. So if there wasn't, and if a girl got pregnant before she got married, it was a real terrible disgrace. And quite often the parents wouldn't support the girl because they felt the disgrace because it was a moralistic society. That was the moral norm then. So quite often the girls, if you got pregnant before you were married, before you began to show the pregnancy, you'd be sent to a mother and baby home so that nobody in your community would know that you were pregnant. You'd go to this mother and baby home under some disguise of visiting a relative in Ireland or something. They'd make up some story. And then, you know, you'd have the baby, and this would be taken away from you, really. People say that these women gave up their babies. They didn't give them up. The babies were taken away from them by this moralistic society, so that when the girl come back, then nobody would know that they'd even had a baby or that they were pregnant. So nobody ever knew about it because it was such a disgrace. So to go back to Carol's story. Oh, when I was 40 then. So my mum made me feel she didn't realise what she was doing. She didn't realise. She didn't do it on purpose, and I totally forgive her. But she caused me a lot of mental problems, I think, which have lasted throughout my life, probably. But when I got to be 40, I decided that I wanted to find out who I was. You know, no matter what my mum had told me, I was going to find out for myself, even if it meant I found out something awful, or even if I got the door shut in my face, which I think that's what stops a lot of adopted people searching for their birth parents, because they think that they might be rejected, that they might not want them. But anyway, I decided I was going to search, so I contacted a social worker, which is what you had to do. That was the procedure. And she had a report. It was a long time ago, but they did have social workers then, nothing like now, but there was a social worker's report, and there was information about my mother on this report. And one of the things was that it said that she did change her mind at the time of when the adoption was going through. She changed her mind and decided she wanted me back. And at one point, she refused to sign the adoption papers. Now, I was given these letters by the social worker that my mother, that Carol, wrote at the time of my adoption to the Adoption Society. And she's saying how she wants me back, that she'll do everything she can to keep me. And then in the next letter, she's saying that the Catholic priest, Father Donnelly, has told me that I must do what's best for the child and I must give her up. And then in the next letter, she's saying she signed. And it was quite emotional, really. But that's what happened. So that's why she gave me up. That's why she gave me up, because of the pressures. There were pressures from doctors, social workers, the church. The church was a big one. I mean, we all know the problems the Catholic Church caused. So So that's why she gave me up. Yes, yeah.
So after she gave you up,
she didn't give me up. Don't say she gave me up. She didn't give me up. I was taken from her.
After you was taken from her, she was still able to visit you, wasn't she, for a period of time? Can you describe what happened during that period of time and how she became attached to you?
Well, I don't remember because I was an
Auntie Carol.
And I knew her as Auntie Carol. I didn't know it was my mother. I didn't know it was my mother. My mother, I don't know how she found out because they wasn't allowed to visit, you see, so I don't know how she found out. But my mother, being a kind person, let her visit, you see. And I can only vaguely remember her, very, very vaguely. I even went to try and get some recollection of her. I even went to a hypnotherapist to try and recreate this scene of her giving me the cow and saying goodbye to me. And I did recreate the scene with the hypnotherapist, but I don't know if it's because I wanted to. So I don't know whether it was my imagination. You know, I wanted so much to see her. And that's why. You
just had a question come in from one of the viewers, and it's from Brinny. Where did most of the children go and get brought up? Were the Catholic, were the church involved?
Oh, yes, I think the church was very much involved. Yes, yes. I'd like to, yes, they were very much involved. I'd like a lot of some of these mother and baby places were run by nuns, you know, and they sort of found, you see, after my mother Florrie, your grandmother Florrie, told me that after the Second World War, 1947, baby boomers, you could literally walk round the orphanages. There were so many babies, you could literally walk around the orphanages and choose one. So even though my mother, Florrie, at that time had 3 children herself, and there was 7 years difference in between us. She had Jimmy, who was 21 when they got me. Joseph was 14, and Lily, my sister, was 7. Oh, I want to say about Lily as well. If I'd have had to choose a sister, I would have chosen Lily. Lily's been the most wonderful sister. I was her Christmas present. She was 7, and she said to me, Mum, she wanted a baby for Christmas because all of her friends had siblings pushing around in prams. So I was her Christmas present, and all through my life, she has treated me as though I'm a Christmas present.
Oh, and Lily does
Auntie Lily, she's wonderful, isn't she?
Lily has an aura of kindness.
What about
it just shines through her eyes. So, all right, so back then, this is the impression I'm getting. It was stigmatized, like you will rot in hell if you have a baby out of wedlock. So yes. There was a big role of the church putting this pressure on society to give the kids up. And we know from other interviews we've done that there was some nefarious things going on. Kids were getting abused. Kids were getting sold. Like our first podcast guest, he was a baby who was sold to an American family, didn't even know he was from the UK. So there was all kinds of shenanigans that the church were pulling back then. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. Yeah. I'd like to talk about them. MAA, this organisation, this campaign that I've started because it's relevant to this.
Yes.
Have you not started the campaign?
It's called. I've just recently joined this campaign. I didn't start it. I've just recently joined it. It's spearheaded by Anne Keane, who's an ex-Labour politician, right? She's an advisory to the shadow advisory to Labour now. But it's called the Movement for Mothers, the Movement for an Adoption Apology. So these ladies who all had the babies taken away from them, there's a group of them, they want the government to apologise for this historical injustice. And people think, well, you know, some people have the attitude, well, why? It's something that happened. Society was different then, you know, why now? But the fact is, these women are still suffering. They're still traumatised by the fact that they had the babies taken away. They were ashamed. They never told anybody. Quite often they got married and never told their husbands. So they have other children that don't know. Because it was so considered so shameful, they couldn't speak about it. I mean, me as an adopted person, as I've said to you, I was ashamed. I couldn't speak about it. I didn't even tell my husband until the week before we got married. I only told you, Shaun, didn't I? Just before I started to search. You know, I mean, how did you feel? There's a question for you. How did you feel when I told you that I was adopted?
I shouldn't be laughing, should I?
No, it's not funny. You don't have to answer.
So how old was I when you told me? Can you remember? What year was it?
I was 40.
37 years.
Yeah.
37 years ago. Can you remember me
34 years ago.
Can you remember me telling you?
Yeah, because I remember thinking whenever I visited me Nan and me Jan that your siblings looked different. I always remember that throughout my life. And when you told me that, it all made sense then as to why they look different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when I told my mother, Flora, your grandmother, that I was going to search, she wasn't happy at all, really, you know. But she did eventually come round to it, and she did support me. And
well, that's why she said you'd been abandoned, because she didn't want you to dig, did she?
No, she loved me so much. She didn't.
Yeah, it was a protective thing. Protective thing.
And it worked. It worked because I buried it deep in my unconscious mind, and it took me to be 40 and have children of my own grown up before I could face it. But to go back to MAA, there's a video, I don't know if a documentary, a BBC documentary that these ladies have taken part in. I don't know if you put the link on. I asked you to put
Ash is in charge of links. It will probably appear any second if you send it to him.
Honestly, to all your supporters, if you watch this, it's very upsetting because it's these ladies talking about the time, how they felt when the babies were being taken from them. And one of the ladies says that she was denied painkillers. It was Anne Keane, actually. She said she was denied painkillers because the nurse said to her, you can't have painkillers so that you'll remember and you won't do this again. You know, so they were treated as though they were wicked, as though they were terrible women because this had happened to them.
Did they say anything else mean to her?
Oh, there was another lady who said that she had had milk expressed, and they said to her, well, we're taking this to give it to the new mummy and daddy to because you're not the mummy and daddy anymore. You know, and if you watch that documentary, there's lots of really awful, unbelievable things that nurses and people said to them. And on this documentary, they're relating it, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. And this is why they do deserve an apology, because it's just never been talked about. It needs to be talked about. They need to know that a lot of them have suffered mental health problems over the years because of having to give up the child. You know, they've never forgot the child. They all say that they think of the child that was taken from them every day of their lives. And some of them have found, you know, have been reunited with the children. But you can never make up that time, can you? You know, you can never make up the time that you
got questions come in, but it's a bit of a plot spoiler. So I don't know if you want to answer this or not. Don't feel that you have to answer it. But thank you, Tracy, Thank you, Tracy Potts, for sending the question in. It's, did your mum meet Carol after she found out?
Oh, well, you see, the book, the second half of the book is the search. And it's what people are telling me, it's a real page turner. Even people who know the end say they just can't stop reading it. So I'm not going to tell you. I'm sorry. You'll have to read the book. You can download it on Kindle.
You can't say about your 5 sisters.
But I can say that I've got 5 sisters now.
5 extra sisters.
Yeah.
5 extra sisters. I've told you about the lovely Lily, haven't I?
Yeah.
Best sister in the world. But I've got 5 other sisters. My biological father had 2 sisters.
2 daughters.
2 sisters. 2 daughters. And my biological mother had 3. And we meet up. You've met them, Shaun, haven't you?
Yeah.
Met them all, yeah. And we meet up, and it's really nice. Yeah. So, yeah.
You just had, okay, this is just a comment from Sapphire. You are such a brave, strong, beautiful woman to come on here and tell your truth. I could see you have a family full of love. And that is from Sapphire from Texas.
Oh,
and people are asking if you're going to write another book. I'm going to grab my sister's book. We are a family of authors now because my sister, Karen, has written this. The audiobook's going to be coming out in a few months.
Yeah.
And it's just people wonder if my dad is going to. I'm getting asked, is my dad going to write a book? Because he's the only one.
Oh, your dad's a poet, you know. He writes poetry.
Yeah, my dad is a poet, and he's got. Doesn't my dad have a poetry YouTube channel?
Yes, he does somewhere. Yes.
What's it called? I'm gonna put it in the chat.
No, let me say thank you to Sapphire for that lovely.
Yeah,
comment.
but what's Dad's channel?
Well, he's going to look it up now. But thank you, Sapphire, for that lovely comment. We do have a lovely family. I love both my children, and I'm really proud of both of them and what they're trying to achieve in life and what they're doing, you know.
And even though it's horrific what happened to your natural mum, none of this family would have come about, would it? If you hadn't.
Oh no, you wouldn't be here now, would you? You wouldn't be here.
I wouldn't be here.
If Thomas and Carol had got married, I'd be living on a farm somewhere with
Cheshire.
Mucking out the pigs and
milking cows.
But you said, was I going to write another book, didn't you?
They're asking, are you going to write another book?
Well, it was very, very hard writing that book because of the trauma, and I'd be sat at the computer sometimes and I'd be in tears, but I kept going. You know, I never wanted to be a writer. That wasn't what it came about because I kept a log during my 26-year search, and with all the ins and outs and the places we visited and all the rest of it, and it sort of turned into a story. But no, I don't think so. The only thing is, when Shaun was in prison, I did do a blog, didn't I?
Yeah, my mum did a blog of the prison visits.
But the reason I stopped doing it, because having your son in prison was so traumatic for our family. Hearing about the terrible things that were happening to him, visiting him and seeing him in that horrible Joe Arpaio's place. He was emaciated. I can't describe the trauma, and it was too traumatic to write about. So I didn't, and it's a shame really that I didn't, but I started it, but I didn't finish it. But that, with the distance of how many years is it now since you've been out of prison?
2007, December.
2007. So I don't know whether the distance, whether I can go back and look at the blog and see if I can continue with it. I don't know.
Did my dad get his channel?
It's just my name, Shaun, Derek Attwood.
I just put that in and nothing come up. Let's have a look. Derek.
It is, yeah.
I put Derek Attwood poems.
Have you spelled it right?
Oh, there you are. Is it the one with 16 subs or 4 subs?
60.
16. I'm not even subscribed to your channel. Right, here we go. Derek, right, you're gonna get a few extra subs off this. Let's put Dad's channel in the live chat.
Oh, dear.
Here we go. Paste. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Send. There we go. I'll put Dad's channel. And you mentioned that my release December of 2007. There's 2 videos of us, isn't there, at Gatwick Airport?
Yes.
Heathrow.
Yeah.
People want to see what we look like. I'll put those, and I've got some. Oh yeah, there's a fresh out of prison one here as well. I'll put those in.
Right.
In the
Did Ash put the MAA link at the bottom for people to see?
Yeah, we've had the MMA link.
And the documentary.
Yeah, you put all the links.
I'd really like people to support them. You know, they're trying to get a government inquiry going, and you know, we really need to do some work.
So to support them, then, do they have like a Facebook page or anything?
I think if you go onto the MAA site, you can.
I think they have got Facebook. I'm not sure.
Yes, I think so.
Do you go on there? Right. So we've got the website. We've got.
Yes, there's a petition on the link. There's a petition
on the website.
On the website.
They just want people to sign that.
They just want people to sign that petition. And if people wanted to donate, they could do. But
it's about the petition.
You know, but it's more about the petition to get the government to because other governments have. Australia have apologised. Is it Canada Northern Ireland have. And there's a separate campaign in Scotland with Nicola Sturgeon, and she looks as though she's about to. So we'll have to see what Boris makes of it, really.
So you've gone through all this, and now you become an activist for the forced adoption movement. Is that what it's called?
No, it's called the movement.
It says that.
The movement. For an adoption apology. That's what MAA stands for.
And do you want that from the church and the government, or just the government, or just the church?
The government, really. They want an inquiry into it. They want to look into things like, you know, who run these mother and baby homes? Who funded that? You know?
Yeah.
To take these... you know, I've not said about the 60s either.
Go for it. Got a couple of minutes left.
Time to
Got a couple of minutes left. Yeah.
I'm a 60s chick, yes. So when I became quite rebellious after I found out that I was adopted, and I gave my mother, Florrie, your grandmother, a really hard time for quite a number of years. But it coincided with the 60s and the Beatles and all the music in Liverpool. So I used to go to Liverpool. I got a job in Liverpool. I worked in Liverpool. And I went to lunchtime sessions at the Cavern. The real Cavern, not the one that's there now. And so all the Liverpool groups, the Beatles, and it was just an amazing time to be young and to grow up in. So, and this is all in my book, a really vivid description of the Cavern, how it was, and seeing the Beatles and.
Death trap.
It was a death trap, actually.
There's no way out.
There was no way out.
Downstairs.
So
it was brilliant. The atmosphere was absolutely amazing. Yeah.
That was like our musical revolution was the rave scene. Your musical revolution was the Beatles.
I was rebellious for years and years, and it was only when I got married and gave birth to you, which was the most wonderful, special thing that happened to me. Believe it or not. Because at last I had this baby, this child that's biologically mine and that belonged to me.
Oh.
And I just was so overwhelmed with love for you. And it was we should be crying now. Not
I'm holding it in. We can't be too mushy on live stream.
If we don't laugh, we'll cry. So we laugh.
So for the people watching this, then please put a 1 in the live chat if you'd like to see Mum come to the podcast studio someday and do a full 2-hour interview on her story.
Oh dear.
One, loads of ones.
Oh, I don't know if I can do that.
And please put.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. You're wonderful. You're all wonderful. You really are. You're brilliant. And thanks again for supporting Shaun. Thank you.
Oh, they are great for sticking with me through thick and thin, all through all these years. Definitely.
I know.
Yeah,
And you know, things happen, don't they? But you've been brilliant. You've stuck with him, and that's great.
Right, I'm going to get on to the next guest then.
Love. I'd send you all hearts if I could click on them now.
Oh, have a good rest of your night, Mum.
All right, I'm going to have a gin and tonic now. Calm down.
Oh, love you. Good night. Bye.
Thanks for having me. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Oh.